drives you? What inspires you? Let's ignite your why. Welcome back to Ignyte Your Why Podcast. I'm your host, Austin T. Gullett, and we're here to have genuine conversations with authentic people to help amplify their voice and figure out what ignites their why. Today's guest was born and raised in South Carolina, but recently he relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina. He's an alumnus of Clemson University, where he studied architecture. Currently, he is working as an architect and is a content creator. So with that being said, let's give a warm welcome to AJ Jackson. AJ, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I feel like I'm always exhausted every Sunday because these are the only days that I do nothing, essentially.
Right.
So these are my recovery days just from the long weeks I have for work, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, I feel that. The same for me. I just like to chill on a nice Sunday.
I mean, how else are you supposed to do Sundays? Like, there's really nothing open. So
Exactly. Nothing's open, and then why would you go do something and just be tired for tomorrow? Like,
right? Because I gotta start a long week tomorrow.
Right.
Sunday should be everyone's recovery days. I feel like now that NFL is back, people are gonna just watch football all day Sunday anyway. So
Right.
it all plans out. So let's just hop straight into this, man. So what is your story?
Okay, so like you said, I am from South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Charlotte. Growing up, it was kind of, I had both parents in my household. I was very fortunate to not necessarily worry about things, but I did grow up in a predominantly white town or city, I guess you can say. So growing up through elementary school through high school, you kind of had to find your place to fit in.
Mhm.
Like for me, it was like, oh, I come from a well, comfortable household, I guess you can say. So with my other African American peers, it was kind of hard, because some of them didn't come from the same standpoint that I was in. So fitting in on that aspect, it was kind of like I wasn't black enough, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you have a predominantly white school and predominantly friends. So with that, it's you kind of don't fit in with them either because it's a whole different culture thing. So that that was kind of started who I am today, really. I just felt like I needed to, at a young age, I felt like I needed to find a place, a group to just fit into. But it didn't really happen like that. But I guess we can backtrack a little bit. But yeah, so I had both my parents. We had a very nice, close family. Like you said, I am an architect now, or aspiring architect. My parents kind of influenced that in a way. They flipped homes when I was younger. So I was always around that kind of atmosphere, environment of them tearing down walls, putting up walls, doing all they could to a house. We moved out of my childhood house to buy a fixer upper, and throughout middle school to high school, we were just fixing up that house. So it was kind of second nature to me without me realizing it. And yeah, when it came time to apply for colleges, I wanted to be an engineer at first. And then I realized how much math and stuff you had to kind of
I hate math so much.
I was actually really good at it. I was good at my math and science. It was just I was already taking college level math and science in high school, but I don't know, something just ticked me off about doing it in college, and I was like, I'm good. And I saw that architecture was available at Clemson, and I was like, I never really thought about it, but let's try it. So I applied, got in, and then yeah, since first day of class, I was like, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be for sure. But yeah,
That's wild to me because math was my worst subject in school. I was a straight A student, but every year in math, I would get like a B plus. Like
Hmm.
it never failed. So I made sure I avoided any major that had like math in it. I had to take one math class in college, and I pushed it off until my junior year when I
Hmm.
had to take it because I
Right.
ran out of gen eds. So
No, I was,
statistics and nope.
yeah, I never really like, I think it was for me, it was the test part. Like
Hmm.
in architecture, you have tests, but like most of the time it's like basically presenting your project. Of course, you have like your other gen ed class or like other history classes that you need to take a test for, but they weren't in a sense of like where you had to like literally break your social life to like study for the test. Like I grew up where I never really had to study like in high school,
Hmm.
middle school and stuff like that. So like I was trying to have a smooth sailing with college too. But yeah, like architecture really wasn't, you didn't really have to take that much tests. We had to take like one math class, at least at Clemson we did. I didn't have to take because I already took it. But so it was just a smooth sailing. It is hard. It's not easy. Like I'm probably explaining it like, oh, there's no test. But like you did have to spend countless hours in like studio and
Yeah,
develop your project and do all this research. But it wasn't like set on like you have the lesson and then you're tested on the lesson if that kind of makes sense.
it
So
makes sense. I was like, the way you're
yeah.
describing it sounds like it's so easy, but I
Yeah.
know there's so many intricacies that you're probably not even discussing. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
We can do a
architecture.
whole we can do a whole nother thing on architecture alone, but like it's not as easy as it seems. Like we don't just draw all day. Like there's actually other stuff that we have to go through. But
Oh, I can only imagine. Like, I feel like there is math that goes into architecture because you
right,
got to think of like angles and
right,
like
right,
dimensions and things of that nature. So
right.
I would have already been out. Like anything that I'm telling you, math is not my thing. I can count money, I can do budgeting and things of that nature, but I'm telling you, once the ABC entered the math system, I was done. I was done.
The variables.
Yeah, no, no, thank you. It was too much for me. But I do have one question for you. So
Okay.
you talked about growing up in a predominantly like white neighborhood and trying to find your niche in like school and finding friends. So did it really click and did you really hone in on like who AJ was when you got to Clemson? Like what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that because with that, like in high school, I was kind of like lost. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it wasn't. I didn't really feel like me. Like of course, when I was at home, I was like my parents knew me a little bit, so it was like I was comfortable. But like stepping outside my house, I was just like, all right, who am I today? Who am I going to be today to satisfy this person? So it became like really, really like hard, uh, which you can probably talk about later. But depression starts to form and like you just don't really know yourself. So like going to Clemson, I was kind of set on like, okay, this is where we're gonna like actually just be ourselves, find ourselves and stuff like that. But of course, nothing goes to plan. So like the first year, you kind of like new to campus, you kind of want to meet all the people, fit in, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I did. Um, just you can say like people please for a
Yep.
while. Uh, And then, halfway through, COVID hit. So, like, we went home anyway. So, I was there. And then I came back for my sophomore year. We weren't on campus, but I had a house with a couple of my friends. And then that's when I quickly realized I was like, I don't really fit in here. Like, not in my household. Like, nothing against them. Like, still love them, still talk to them. But, like, it just didn't feel like my place. And then I think it didn't click for me until like junior year. um that's when I kind of found like social media, or social media was always around, but I was like, let me try this social media thing and see
Hmm.
like if I like it, I'll be able to be like this character that I kind of want to be. But it turns out it's just me being me. And that's what I kind of liked about it. Once I found it, I was like, I can literally just be me, posted. Like none of my friends that I am friends with now are following me. So it's kind of just like the people that actually enjoy my energy, company, kind of just come like
Yeah.
socialize with me, and I wouldn't have to like put on a persona that like made me fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Hmm.
people that wanted to follow me because of actually who I was being or something like that. So yeah, it didn't really click for me until like junior year, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with all the pretending. I'm just gonna, you know, do me, and
It's
now I'm here. I
exhausting.
guess yeah,
It's
it's
exhausting.
very exhausting.
I think the best way to kind of explain it is like you're walking on eggshells.
Right.
Because you're constantly like code switching into like who you're
Hmm.
hanging out with or what group you're with or what group of friends you're with, and it's exhausting all the time.
Right.
And I feel for me, I'm an introvert, so I don't
Hmm.
really like step out of my comfort zone and things of that nature. Like I made
Right.
most of my friends like playing sports, but like outside of sports, like I didn't talk to them. It was weird. I'm a weird
Hmm.
person. But I
No,
always
I
felt
get
like
that.
no, like I always felt like I was walking on like eggshells because it was like there's that always like that voice that was in my head, and still to
Hmm.
this day, like it's still there sometimes where it's like, okay, like what does this person think of me? And
Right.
you just want people to like you and accept you, but you
Hmm.
also just don't want, you're afraid to show them like the real you because
Right.
you don't want to be judged. You don't want to
Hmm.
be like, I don't know. I think it is that people pleaser kind of thing.
Right.
And it takes time to learn. I feel like one thing I've been trying to remind myself is I can't control the uncontrollables. Uh,
Right.
like I can't control what people think of me, can't control what
Right.
people say about me. But when you're constantly like growing up, walking on eggshells, trying to like find your niche and trying to find that group,
Hmm.
it's kind of hard not to think that way because you're like,
Right.
I just want to be accepted. I think that's the biggest thing. So,
Yeah. No, like going off what you said, like, um, sorry, I'm brain farting really bad right now. But I catch myself like today, like not today, but like in today's time, um, thinking about like past situations. I'm like, why did I say that? Or like, what did they think about me saying that or something like that? I'm just like, and I had to like catch myself and be like, yo, like chill, like it's not that deep.
mhm,
That thing was like 10 years ago. You can like let it go. And like now with me now, I'm just like, who cares? Like you said what you said, you meant what you said. That's all you can really go off of.
it
Or
is
like,
what it is.
it is what it is. And I'll go back and be like, why did I act like that? Or da. I'm just like, you can't stay in the past, man. Just like look for tomorrow.
I mean, it's hard though sometimes, but you're right. I think the
Right.
biggest thing is I feel like I don't regret anything in my life. I
Hmm.
feel like everything happened for a reason. Everything has helped shape me into who I am. But I think it's interesting just hearing like the bits and pieces of your story, and I'm just like, wow, like I can relate to you so much.
Right.
It's like insane. Um, but I kind of want to lead into my next segment here. It's kind of like a big chunk of this whole podcast. So, what is it that truly inspires you? But more importantly, what is it that ignites your why?
Uh, just being myself, man. Like that really what makes me keep going. I really want to be successful in life, and I feel like I can't be successful without being myself. So it just really pushes me like every day I step out my house, like do not hide who you are. Do not try to like dim your light for something else or for someone else. Kind of just like, I guess just being you.
Hmm.
And with me, like, I don't know, it's just like I really just want to be successful. Like that's really just makes me keep going. Like I don't want to sit around being lazy, or I don't want to like for example, like I used to go out a lot,
Hmm.
like a lot in college, and it caused me to kind of get in that party world of like the next day I'm not really doing anything until it's time to go out again, or like it's time to stay up to 2 a.m. and stuff like that. And as me as a person, I always have like these new ideas and new things I want to do, but I can never do them because like I'm always hindered about what happened the night previously or like the day previously. So like that really clicked in my brain where it just kind of switched for me. I was just like, I can't be successful if I'm just literally
Yep.
doing nothing but like going out and partying and then the next day laying in bed recovering until it's time to go party again, or like laying in bed until it's like 6 p.m. About 6 p.m. you can't really do anything because
hmm Your day's gone.
everything's closed. Yeah, the day's gone, sun's gone, everything's closed. So like, I don't know, that kind of just really pushes me to be productive and just be successful. I'm trying to like word it in a way, but it's really just success. Like I
No, I
really
get
just want
it.
to be successful.
I get it. I do. Let me ask you this: were you an athlete?
I was.
And
I was.
I think that's kind of where that drive of like wanting to be success comes from, right?
Mhm.
Because me as an athlete, like I always wanted to be the best version of myself possible. And I
Mhm.
think that just translate into my life, my job or whatever I'm doing. I want to be the best at it. And I'm
Mhm.
not going to give anyone a reason to say I'm not good at something I'm doing. Um,
Right.
that's just my mindset. That's the dog in me. Like I'm going to fight for this. Like I'm going to give my best effort. But it's
Right.
crazy just to hear you talking because I'm just like, damn, like I relate to you so much. Like it's so crazy to me. I didn't party in college because I saw
Mhm.
what my brother did. Right. I
Mhm.
have an older brother. Sorry, Aaron, I'm not trying to dog you, but but like my brother like joined a fraternity and like he would party all the time and he
Mhm.
would drink all the time. Where it was just like I didn't want to do that. Right.
Right.
I was like, I see how it affected him. I see
Mhm.
how it affected his grades and things of that nature. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. And
Right.
I think it takes a lot of self control for you to understand and realize, like, hey, like, this is a problem and this is hindering like my success. And if
Mhm.
I continue to go down this path, I'm not going to get to where I want to be. And
Right.
that just shows your strength and your maturity. And it's truly inspiring because a lot of people don't see it that way until it's too
Mhm.
late.
Yeah, like I'm the same with you. Like I have an older sister. She's 8 years older than me. So like when I was just now technically growing up, like being
Mhm.
my own person in middle school, she was out the house, like she was in college, and I kind of got to see that at an early age and see not necessarily how it like affected her because like it didn't affect her badly, but like I got to see it and experience very early than my peers.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like when it came around, I was just like, oh, I'm just doing this to like going back, like to fit in. But this is not really fun to me. Like I've already seen this side of the world. Um, and I kind of see like how it set her back a little bit. So seeing that at an early age too, like when I was starting college, how it kind of set her back a little. I was like, I don't want really want that to happen to me. Like I kind of want to keep this thing rolling. I want to work now and then like by I'm 30, you know, call it quits, like
Yeah.
retire. But that's the dream, but we'll see.
It's
But
all
yeah,
making sense to me now. Like you're the
I'm
youngest sibling. Are you the
yeah,
youngest? Are you the
I'm the
baby?
baby. It's just like
It's making so much sense to me because I'm the baby, and I feel like being the younger sibling, you're always compared to your older
hmm
sibling, and it's so frustrating and so annoying. And I just wanted to be different. Like I wanted to
right,
be essentially better, right? Because like
right,
that's the competitiveness in me. Like I don't want
right.
to be compared. Like I'm me. Like I'm Austin. I'm not Aaron. Right?
hmm
I don't I'm my own person. And I think it really frustrated me as a kid all the time where we went to the same high school, things of that nature.
hmm
So you can imagine like we had the same teachers.
right.
And there'd be times in class where they'd call me Aaron and I would literally just sit there and like look at them. And then they would say it again. And I'm like, my name's Austin. Like I like I'm my own person. Like, and I think that's the thing as younger siblings. Like when we grow up, a lot of people are like, oh, like you look like your brother, or you did
hmm
this like your brother. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm
Yeah,
me.
that
Like
probably you probably got it a lot worse than I did since y'all are both the same gender.
and we're 3 years apart. So like
Oh, okay. So
we're
y'all was pretty close. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just like it was so frustrating growing up because I was just like, dude, like I wanted to separate myself
Right.
from him, and it's just I think that's kind of been the trajectory of my life. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I want to do my
Right.
own thing.
I think my parents tried to do that to me at some point, but I called it. I was like, "Yo, I'm not like you're not gonna get the same thing as what my sister did, or if not, I'm gonna be better." You know what I'm saying? And I think that's also that kind of ignites my why is that I am the baby, so I got pretty spoiled with a lot of things
Mhm.
with my parents and my sister. So like, it's kind of like it's kind of like a need to like kind of give back to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to be successful so I can give back to my parents because they have like put a lot of money and sacrifice and like when I did sports and
Right.
traveling and stuff like that, even with school, like they supported me throughout school. So I'm just like, I need to find some way to like give back to my parents. So that's kind of like what drives me now. Um, Also on top of just wanting to be successful for myself. So
Right. It's crazy that we don't realize the things our parents do for us
hmm
until we're grown and we have time to like think like, oh shit, like you sacrificed so much for me. And it's like as a child you don't appreciate it, but when you get older
right.
you're just like, damn, like they're a real one.
Right. My dumb self didn't realize it until like I turned in my last architecture project of like my undergrad in college. So like after that it kind of like just hit me. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with college. Like what the heck? And then like I started thinking, I was like, wow, like from 2012 to now, like my parents have done a lot. Like and I like sent them a text. I was like, thank y'all like we're like because we're not really emotional or like I'm not an emotional person so like the whole sappy like thank you thing we kind of just don't do that. It's kind of like implied but like at that moment I was just like nah, like y'all kind of did a lot within these what is that like 10 years, like
hmm
that's a lot that y'all have put in. So it's something to like think about when you're mad at your parents or something like they're sacrificing a lot, yo.
And they do it out of love. It's not because like
Right,
they're doing it because they want you to be successful. And I think
right,
that's the
right.
thing is as kids, like we think they're just being mean and they're just
hmm
being like not selfish. That's the wrong word, but they're being protective. And
Right,
I think that's the thing. And you don't really understand that until you get to that age where you're just like, damn, it all makes sense. Like I understand why
right,
you did that now. And it just makes you think of like whenever you become a parent, like what am I gonna be like with my kids? Like
right.
so it's definitely interesting, but
It's crazy. It's crazy when you finally like think about all that.
and I don't know why it takes so long for us to realize it, but I think once you do, you're just like, thank you so much. Like
Right.
how and then that's when you get to the point where it's like, how can I repay you? And the
hmm
thing is, our parents don't want to be repaid. They just want
They
to see
don't.
us. They just want to see us happy, and they just want to see us living our best lives.
Right. I know my parents don't, but they're if I make it, they're gonna definitely get a good check coming
Period.
their
Right.
way. They're gonna be good.
For sure. So I kind of want to lead into my favorite segment of this entire podcast here. Everyone knows me, knows I'm a huge mental health advocate.
hmm
So how has AJ been taking care of AJ mentally?
Dude, I just protect my peace. Honestly, I'm heavy on protecting the peace now. Like it's so exhausting, like we talked about earlier, of like just pleasing people and just doing it because you're scared of what someone's gonna think or you don't want to miss out or whatever. Like that's exhausting. And like you said, like once you get older, you kind of just come in terms like it doesn't need to be life shouldn't be that hard. Like life's hard
hmm
by itself. So do not make it harder on yourself. So like if you don't feel like going out, don't go out. If you don't feel like hanging out with anybody after work, don't hang out with anybody after work. Like don't be scared to say no. Like they're gonna be okay at the end of the day. And that's what I kind of just like live off by just to keep myself sane because in high school I did go through a pretty bad depression phase. Like I still have it. Like
hmm
I'm accustomed to it. to where I know when it's coming and I start doing things to kind of help that. And that's just based on the person. Like for me, it's like going to the gym for like a certain amount of time, or, not watching TV, just like listening to music or something like that. Going on drives kind of just helps me when that kind of phase comes around. So, I mean, really, the best advice I have is just protecting your peace. Don't put yourself in a situation that you have the slightest like gut feeling that
Hmm.
it's not gonna go right, or you're just not gonna enjoy it. If you have the slightest gut feeling that you're not gonna enjoy it, do not go. Like, just protect that, because you're gonna end up going. It's gonna end up being exactly how you thought it was gonna be, and then now you're upset for the next 2 days. So yeah, that's just basically what I like to do. Um, I like to just chill. I read a lot of motivational books when I have the time. Or self help books. I read a
Hmm.
couple of those. Um, and then I create content also that kind of helps me debrief and kind of just escape reality. I know some people it's like negatively portrayed of like the comments and
Yeah.
stuff, but like really, I just post. I don't even like, I'll look at the comments, but like I'm so like into protecting my peace and I'm so accustomed to it that like I just kind of skip over those comments. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, besides reading, chilling, saying no, and creating social media,
It's
that's kind of
impressive.
where I'm at.
It's impressive you have this mindset at the age of 22.
Yeah, I
Right?
get that
Because
a lot.
it's crazy to me because I'm 27 and I'm
Hmm.
still figuring it out. Right.
Hmm.
And I think my thing is I always stayed busy.
Hmm.
I'm an avoider, as my therapist tells me.
Right.
I'm an avoider, so I avoid a lot of things by staying busy, right? So it's just
Hmm.
whether it's working, coaching, podcasting, like constantly doing something. So I think it's impressive that you have this mindset that you're just going to protect your peace and do
Hmm.
what makes you happy. I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm happy for you that you have figured it out so
Yeah.
early and you don't have to struggle or go through those processes even longer than you needed to. So
Hmm.
it's impressive. I do want to ask you about your content and just kind of, especially in the world we live in, it's
Hmm.
just very social media driven, especially with the technology and how it just is continuously evolving.
Right.
So you kind of mentioned it earlier how like you like got on social media and you can be yourself. But what
Hmm.
was the initial of like, I want to do this, and how have you taken it to the level you've taken it to?
Um. So to be real, I kind of when I started, I think my first one ended up being like a thirst trap or something, and it kind of just blew up. And I didn't even mean for it to. I think I just like had my shirt off, and I was a skinny boy back then. Like I was really skinny, so I'm shocked that anybody was like interested in that. But I don't know. I guess I
It's
was just a
hilarious.
new face, and it kind of blew up. And then from there, it was thirst traps for a while, and I was just like, thirst traps cringe me so hard. Like I can't do this anymore. And then that's when I moved to Atlanta for an internship for the summer. And when I moved to Atlanta, I started getting into like get ready with me's and like actually talking to people while I was getting ready, or going on a date or something. I think I did a couple of those, and then like I incorporated the gym into it, and then incorporated gym crushes. Like at the gym, I come like talk about like some fine person I just saw or something like that, and it just kind of like built on that. And then it kind of slowed down because I did go to Europe to study abroad for a semester, and I was just living in the moment. I wasn't really trying
Right.
to like record and stuff like that. And then last semester, this recent semester, my graduating semester, um, I was back in that I felt like toxic stage where I didn't really feel like myself. So like I couldn't really like post stuff. I don't really like posting unless I'm like feeling absolutely myself. to give the people who follows me the real experience of my personality.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and then it just kind of stuck like with the get ready with me's. I do a lot of get ready with me's. I do like a couple day in the lives. I kind of turn it into fitness um, because I'll spend most of my time at the gym anyways. Uh, but I don't want to be known as a fitness influencer or like a
Right.
fitness guy. I kind of just want it to be part of my story in my life. So
Mhm.
I try to incorporate some life stuff in between like me posting gym stuff. But yeah, it started from thirst traps and now we're kind of just here figuring life. I'm trying to think of like new ways to do stuff. Like do like a segment of like, hey, come with me as a 22-year-old who doesn't know anything about life type stuff or like something like that. So it grows. It's a wide
Yeah.
network. So it's just like you can go anywhere with it, and I'm still trying to figure out that. So
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, I hope I answered your question. I know I ramble a lot, but
No, it made sense because I feel like as you're on social media, like you were probably when you started like younger, right? I don't
Mhm.
know how old you were.
Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
21,
So
maybe
like
something like that.
as you're evolving as a person and as you're evolving in life, I would assume like your social media
Mhm.
would grow with that, right? And I think it just shows like your maturity as a person. And I follow you and I
Mhm.
think your story and like your journey is like interesting, right?
Mhm.
And I say interesting in a way of just you're genuine, right? You're
Mhm.
not putting on like this fake like facade of like, oh, everything's perfect, like, you know what
Right.
I mean? And you show like the raw and like the
Mhm.
realness, and I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's why people follow you. And when you are telling a story and you're allowing people in on your life, and it's kind of like
Mhm.
very similar to this podcast where it's like you never know who can relate to you just
Right.
by simply being you and simply sharing a piece of you, right?
Mhm.
Because someone could experience the exact same thing, or someone could be wanting to do the exact same thing that you're doing, and you have
Right.
those resources that you can share with people to be successful, right?
Right.
Or they could just feel inspired by just saying like, oh, like if he can do it, like so can I.
Mhm.
And I think just the platform you're using it in a positive light,
Mhm.
and in a world full of so much negativity, it's
Mhm.
nice to see, right? And I think you
Right.
just got to continue keeping that in mind, where don't, like, I tell some of my friends who are content creators all the time is like, don't create for other people,
Mhm.
create for you. Like even though like I say this podcast is like to inspire other people, I do it because I enjoy it. It's something
Right.
I love to do. I love connecting with people. I love making connections and having deep conversations. Like that's something I thoroughly enjoy, right?
Right.
So when it comes to your social media, don't create things that you don't want to create. Do it for
Right.
yourself. Um, Followers will come, followers will leave. But as long as you're protecting your peace, like as you would say, that's all that really matters. And I think you're on the right trajectory and you're doing it how you want to do it. So
Right.
don't ignore the outside noise and just do what you want to do, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I try to be as raw as I can, as genuine as I can. Like, in the early days of TikTok or whatever, it was a lot of like editing and like people redoing stuff because they want to put on this perfect persona about themselves. But like, I naturally like the creators or like myself, the ones that put in clips of them messing up. Like, I feel like as a person, that just shows that yes, like I am a professional or I am a content creator, but at the same time, I don't get stuff right 100% of the time. Like I fall between takes, I stutter, I lose my train of thought, and I'm gonna show you that because like maybe you want to create content and you think that everything has to be 100% perfect. It doesn't have to be. Um, and just stuff like that. It's just like no matter if you have 100 followers to a million followers, you're inspiring somebody. So I just encourage people to just post what they want. Like I only have 4,000 followers, 4,500 followers on Instagram, and most of them are people I actually know in the real world. And you may think that people are laughing at you, but I get comments probably every other day that's like, you're actually inspiring me to go to the gym, and
Right.
like you're actually like doing this and that. So
Yeah.
you just don't realize it because people will speak in silence sometimes, but just post your content, man. If you really enjoy it and find it fun. That's just my 2 cents based on what you said. So
And you're right. You're 100% right. And I think the hardest thing for content creators is just it's so easy to compare.
hmm
So easy to compare yourself to other people.
right.
And in a sense of like, oh, like why do they have so many followers, or why
hmm
am I not getting the traction I think I deserve? And it's just
hmm
it's hard because I feel like for me, when I do this podcast, I'm my biggest critic.
hmm
But I also try to remain like humble and think like I'm not doing this for other people. Like I'm doing it for me. And I kind of
right.
just keep reminding myself of that. Like regardless of how much you want to like look at other people's successes and wonder like how can I get to that point? It's
hmm
living in the moment, I think, is the biggest thing for me, is just trying to hone in and just focus on the now, and hopefully I'll get to where I want to be.
right. You can't get no. It's not a quick rich scheme or whatever they call it. Like it's not a quick process. You gotta just trust the process. Enjoy the process. That's like what I like to say.
100%. But I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to hop on the podcast. Even though I know you were kind of hesitant, I felt like it's been a good conversation. It's been good getting to know you and kind of seeing a different side of you because you're
hmm
more than who you are on social media. And I think that's
Right.
the beautiful thing of life, is there's more to a person than what we see on the internet. So I
Right.
just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time out of your day to hop on. If anyone wants to continue having a conversation with you about anything we might have talked about today, whether that's architecture, content creation, or fitness, anything,
hmm
what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I would say either Instagram, which you can find me aj.jackson underscore on Instagram. I'm pretty good at checking my DMs, but if you do want to actually kind of get in contact with me, I'll give you Austin a email that they can hit me at. I don't really have one right now, but I will
Okay.
make one that way that they can get in contact with me. But yeah, basically anything from Instagram or commenting on TikTok, I will see it. So yeah.
Uh, I got you. I got you. I'll make sure to put all of AJ's information in the description below. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate everyone. If you guys happen to reach out to AJ, please just make sure you notate on how you found him. That way it's not just some weird thing.
Yeah.
Again, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you give us a follow on all social media platforms at Ignyte Your Why. That's INGYTE, not with an I. We're on every platform, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, we're there. So make sure you give us a follow. Again, thank you all for tuning in. And always remember, find your purpose, ignite your why, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.